I've been playing guitar for over 20 years and I've asked all the same questions people ask me on how to get better. Here are the 5 unspoken rules that separate intermediate guitar players from advanced players. Now don't take the titles at face value, I'm going to go into detail about each one. But first of all, what is an intermediate guitar player? I would say it's someone who could easily play any chord. They're comfortable with most patterns of the minor and pentatonic scale and understand the basics of how to improvise in a single key signature. Now maybe you've been able to do all those things for many years now and feel like you're not getting any better. That's only because you're not paying attention to the right things. Most guitar players only think in notes. That is, what key do I play in? What scale do I use? What chords do I play? And how do I hit the changes? Sure, that's important to an extent, but if you already know to figure that out, then it's time to move on to the next thing to sound better. But what is the next thing? Number 1, rhythm. When I was younger, I would get too caught up in trying to find a cool chord move or voicing to throw in, and that would throw off my rhythm. I wouldn't just sit in the pocket and especially learn how to add my rhythm moves in time. And just as important, but more overlooked, is rhythm and lead playing. You don't really need licks if you could play with the groove. Playing in the rhythm and in the groove makes a single note sound great, and it stops you from playing up and down the scale and calling that a solo. Number 2 is dynamics. I notice this with every beginner and most intermediate players. They pick and strum very hard. Dynamics is a two-way street. You can go up or down, hard or soft, but if you start at the highest level, you can only go down. Your dynamic also shapes your tone. A hard attack has a different tone from a soft attack. Basically, how you approach the string with your pick changes the tone as well as the dynamic, and they go hand in hand. Number 3, play full notes. What is a full note? It's the full duration of whatever the intended rhythm is. A quarter note doesn't just start on the first beat, but it ends right before the second beat. When we first pick up a guitar, the first thing we notice is we can't get to the notes quick enough to sound like the song we're trying to play. So most of us develop the habit of rushing right to the next note so we can get there in time. This creates a dirty habit of endless staccato playing. Most of the time, you want your notes and your phrases to connect and not have space in between the notes. That's why I warm up my scales slower than you do. I'm practicing full notes, dynamics, and good tone instead of speed. Number 4, practice more. Now I'm not trying to be facetious, but through my own experience and progress, as well as seeing all my students' approaches, you have to practice way more than you think. And that practice comes in 2 forms, repetition and knowledge. You have to repeat that thing that you're working on until it's second nature. I like to think of it in terms of focus. First, I focus on my fingers going to the right spot on the fretboard. Once that is a habit that I could do without thinking, then I focus on the other musical elements such as the rhythm, pocket, and dynamics. And when I say knowledge, I mean know exactly what you're trying to execute. Like I keep saying, music goes beyond pitch and the correct notes. What is the exact rhythm that you're trying to play? Does it start on a downbeat? Does it start on an upbeat? Or from the technical aspect, what exact fingers should I use to play this fluidly? And the last one, gear is a lie. That nice guitar with that nice amp and those cool pedals will not make you sound good. The more money you spend, the more you waste it on that fleeting joy of showing off the expensive gear to your friends. Sure, there's a sense of quality with nicer gear and varying degrees of unique sounds that you can get from all those options between guitars, amps, and pedals. But I promise you, none of those combos will make you sound any better or unique than your own fingers. It's what you play and how you play it. And you can't put a price tag on practiced skill, even though all those companies are pitching it to us like that. Now with that said, you can still keep learning new things. New licks, chords, scales, solo techniques, or grooves are important so you can have a larger repertoire of interesting, cool things to say on the guitar. But consider these 5 rules with every step of the way. For a variety of courses to learn neo soul fundamentals, funk guitar, or just a bunch of dope licks, check out all my guitar courses at nastysoulmusic.com. Keep jamming and stay nasty.